Coming up on News 2, lack of water is causing some headaches for farmers. The Department of Agriculture is working on initiatives to help. We take you to Bordeaux for an update. And it's spring break. Are we seeing a spike in business this time of the year? We get some feedback from business reps. Plus, Jorge Bergoglio from Argentina is now the 266th leader of the Roman Catholic Church and will be called Pope Francis I. Hello, welcome, and thanks for joining us on this edition of News 2. I'm Sandra Gumansing. Top in this newscast, police on St. Croix are asking the public to help find a lost 4-year-old child. Melanie Tara Ferguson has been missing since about 10 a.m. Thursday. Police say she may have left her residence in the Estate Grove Place area with her 2 brown Chihuahua dogs. Melanie weighs 30 to 40 pounds and is 3 feet tall. Her brown hair was braided into cornrows to her neck. She has brown eyes and was wearing black leggings and a multicolored shirt with thin straps. She was not wearing shoes. If you have seen Melanie Tara Ferguson or know anything about this case, please call detectives at 778-2211 or 911. Representatives of the Native Son Ferry along with the VIPD are asking for your help regarding some stolen tickets. Stolen from the St. Thomas office, it was discovered in January after a woman tried to use a stolen ticket to board the ferry for a BVI trip. An audit was conducted and it was discovered that 31 books of 100 tickets that range from $30 to $65 was missing. Anyone with information is urged to call police or Crime Stoppers. You may be detained for questioning if stolen tickets are used or presented for boarding. Senators got an overview and tour of Juan Louis Hospital last week, but Wednesday the hospital's management were asked to testify before lawmakers about the facility's status. News 2's Erica Parsons was there and has more.
The Senate Health and Hospitals Committee met Wednesday to take testimony from Juan Louis Hospital's management about the medical center's overall condition.
It's very important for the public to be made aware of how our healthcare systems are operating.
Louis officials had good news to report from the Centers for Medicare and Medicaid Services.
We are very happy about that. They did accept our plan of correction, and right now we're in the process of implementing that plan of correction.
Hospital officials say they've made positive strides in their finances. They've also hired more local RNs and cut costs by reducing travel nurses. They still owe WAP of $4 million, but several government agencies owe the hospital a total of $6 million.
There have been issues in the past, and there's some challenges as we speak. But it appears that with what we are hearing, with the direction and the directors that's in place, our healthcare systems might be heading in a very favorable direction.
Lawmakers questioned whether a merger of the VI's 2 hospitals would put them in a better standing. Officials said possibly, but it would need careful consideration.
I think that there's so many aspects to this merger that we cannot just all of a sudden pass legislation and say that we're going to combine both hospitals. We really need a brain trust if we're even going to consider it. And I say even consider because it may not necessarily be the best thing. We're assuming that it's a good thing.
It should be looked at as one hospital system, even though they have separate buildings, but one system. That way we're not competing with certain services. We're actually complementing each other.
Erica Parsons, News 2.
The Senate committee also heard testimony Wednesday from the Department of Health. In some other news, water is everything to the farmers in Bordeaux. It's what allows them to grow their crops, but without it, the land dries up and they're unable to grow much of anything. But unfortunately, that's just what happened. News 2's Erica Bivens spent the day in Bordeaux looking at initiatives the Department of Agriculture is tackling to help.
Currently at one of the highest points in Bordeaux lies this dry-looking open field, but it's supposed to be a pond that's normally filled with water. Created by the Department of Agriculture years back, it gravity feeds water down to the farmers below.
I believe we have approximately 10 or so farmers who actually tap into the pond right now. We have more than that number of farmers in the area, but only 10 have actually put lines into the pond.
But because more farmers have been using the pond and a lack of rainfall, it dried up over over the past few weeks, and because the department didn't have the funds, they turned to the community who offered their help.
Jimmy from Boys Trucking System, Dan from Caribbean Petroleum, John from Tri-Island Energy, and Mark Gottlieb from Total Gas Station.
All four contributed 100 gallons of diesel each, so the department could use the equipment to remove the sediment that's built up.
Goal number one is to get all the sediment out, and goal number two, we're going to widen the pond just a little bit more so that they can hold at least 500,000 gallons more water than it holds right now.
Although work began just a couple days ago, Commissioner Peterson estimates the work will be completed within about a week.
That after the renovation and the expansion is done, it will hold probably closer to 2 million gallons of water.
The initiative is just one of many the department is currently undertaking, but Peterson says it shows how much everyone needs to work together in tough economic times.
If it weren't for all of the outcry, perhaps, we probably won't be where we're at right now. So that's simply to say that it takes all of us to really make this happen. It takes all of us to develop the infrastructure and to support the industry of agriculture as we should. And we are very, very happy for all of that public and private sector support.
For News 2, I'm Erica Bivens.
The Department of Agriculture is focusing on areas of water challenges in Bordeaux. News 2 will be bringing you more of their efforts to help farmers. Stay tuned. While turning our attention to Rome, the world's 1.2 billion Catholics have a new pope, the first one from the Americas. Danielle Nottingham has the latest details from Vatican City.
The crowd in St. Peter's Square erupted into thunderous cheers as the new pope emerged on the balcony and greeted the world. Jorge Bergoglio from Argentina is now the 266th leader of the Roman Catholic Church and will be called Pope Francis I. The former Archbishop of Buenos Aires was elected on the 5th ballot today, ending the conclave on its second day. He was not seen as a frontrunner in this election, but he was a contender in 2005. He is the first pope from the Americas. White smoke billowing from a Sistine Chapel chimney signaled to the world the new Holy Father had been chosen. Bells tolled outside the Vatican and across Rome as tens of thousands filled St. Peter's Square to witness history.
This is so exciting. I came just for this, and I'm so glad to be here.
This is a moment everybody dreams of being around to see. You never think you'll ever get to see it in your lifetime.
The Cardinals hope their new leader will bring followers back to the church and help it move past the scandals. Danielle Nottingham, News 2.
Meanwhile, in the U.S., House Republicans and Senate Democrats are working on very different budget proposals, and the two sides couldn't be farther apart. As Susan McGinnis reports, President Obama came to Capitol Hill again today to find a way to bridge that gap.
President Obama treks back to Capitol Hill today, the second time this week. He's trying to use a personal touch to get Congress to compromise.
And the president believes there is cause to continue the effort to try to find common ground and compromise.
But one unnamed White House official reportedly called the trips a waste of the president's time. Some lawmakers agree.
Charm and personality and intimate relations is one thing, but it's not going to bridge that gap, in my opinion.
Congressman Paul Ryan introduced the GOP's budget proposal Tuesday. It would slash $4.6 trillion over the next decade, more than half from Medicare, and would repeal President Obama's health care reform law. Democrats say Ryan's plan is the same proposal he introduced in the last 2 years and that voters rejected in November.
The election didn't go our way. Believe me, I know what that feels like. That means we surrender our principles.
Senate Democrats unveiled their budget plan today. It promises to be radically different from the Republican plan in every way but one. It's sure to be harshly criticized.
It'll be interesting to see what they put forward.
Democrats will call for $1 trillion in new revenue and $1 trillion in spending cuts.
It represents a balanced approach to what we need to do with the economy.
Both sides will move quickly on their budget proposals, with Senate and House leaders hoping to bring their plans up for a vote next week.
And keeping our eye on the economy, U.S. retail sales were up in February. Americans spent more on motor vehicles and other goods despite higher gas prices. The Commerce Department says retail sales increased 1.1% last month. That's better than economists had expected. It also means higher taxes may not have a big impact on Americans' wallets this quarter. Consumer spending drives about 70% of the nation's economic activity. This is the New York Stock Exchange with Scotiabank's Stock Market Watch. Everything up, the Dow 5, NASDAQ 2, S&P 2. Coming up on News 2, spring break. Are we seeing a spike in business this time of year on the Big Island? We get some feedback from business representatives. Plus, the official hanging of the school's AYP banner and a program to honor those students with the highest scores on the 2012 Vital Exam. That's what this celebration is all about. Details. Spring breakers already enjoying warmer weather and more headed towards island destinations. Business owners on St. Croix have been working to boost sales and feel that St. Croix could be a top spring break destination. News 2's Janisha John brings us more.
It's spring break time, and with many tourists packing their bags in search of an exotic getaway, it's no surprise that business owners on St. Croix have begun seeing a boost in sales.
It's been very good, you know, a lot of kids in town. We want to try to provide something for them to do, you know, some sort of nightlife entertainment. The people that are coming here are having a good time, you know, and you know, you make connections and they want to come back again next year, and that's the ultimate goal, you know, to have repeat customers.
Business owners have sought out to capitalize on the increased traffic by providing enticing sales and events for visitors, making St. Croix one of the top 10 most affordable spring break destinations, according to a recent article by USA Today.
Just recently in the USA Today as most affordable spring break destinations, so that's definitely a plus for us, and hopefully, you know, in years to come we can capitalize off of that and maybe, you know, put together a few more events similar to the St. Patrick's Day parade for, you know, the people coming down here to visit. You know,
we've struggled to figure out why the Virgin Islands is not the #1 spring break destination. I mean, you can drink when you're 18 and walk from bar to bar, and you don't need a passport. We think that's a real market for us.
And while business owners are positive that spring breakers, along with the upcoming St. Patrick's Day activities, will bring in more business, many say that overall sales over the last few months have been down.
It's down a little bit, I would say, but we've definitely been fortunate enough, not just with spring break, but I mean with the business at the Bravo tours with the Danish people that have come in.
Business in town is down by about 30% over last year, and that we think is largely a function of the construction that's been going on. That's been a real headache for us. Looking forward to the boardwalk renovation. We'll be very positive. You know, the government announced that they'll be working on that starting in April. We'll suffer a little bit while it's going on again, but the end result should be really good.
Janisha John, News 2.
Now, business owners say they are looking forward to the weekend St. Patrick's Day festivities, as many of the businesses have events scheduled for those days, calling it one of the biggest weekends of the year. Well, hundreds of students from the Charlotte Amalie High School took to the streets on St. Thomas early Wednesday morning in a march to celebrate their adequate yearly progress for 2012. The march was set out to celebrate the 405 students who were deemed to be proficient based on their performance on last year's vitals testing. Following the march, students made their way to the Ruthie Thomas Auditorium, where medals and trophies were awarded to the students.
To be able to put together a program to celebrate your accomplishments on last year's testing. And I want to let you know, class of 2013, that you have made this school, this district, this entire community really proud with your accomplishments.
Congratulations to the students. As News 2 reported, First Lady Cecile DeYoung took the time to meet with Senators Judy Buckley, Diane Capehart, and Samuel Sanes at Government House in St. Croix to discuss the passing and implementation of anti-bullying laws here in the territory. After conducting surveys in schools throughout the territory in the spring of 2012, it was discovered that incidents of bullying in the territory are significantly higher than that of the national average. The First Lady explains why this meeting is so important.
It really stems from an overall concern to find for mental health here in the Virgin Islands, not only for adults, but for children. And some of the things that fall into that are children feeling that they are being bullied for one reason or another, whether it's the way they look or the way they dress or where they come from. There's a whole list of reasons why children get bullied. And what we want to do is be able to make sure that the schools are able to educate not only the students but also the teachers and the surrounding community on the effects of bullying and what bullying looks like.
Well, stick around. Your News2 AccuWeather forecast is coming up next.